As a student of history in my early days at university, I look back for true wisdom. And in the 16th century, a fellow by the name of Colbert was the finance minister of France, and he wrote a phrase that has become very popular. He said, "The art of taxation consists in so plucking the goose as to obtain the maximum amount of feathers with the minimum amount of hissing." If you look at the way municipalities, I know the province and the federal government approach taxation, but we're dealing with municipalities. They obviously want to minimize hissing. They clearly need the maximum amount of feathers possible. And they do everything they can, in my view, most of them, to obscure the transparency of the relationship between the taxpayer, city hall, the service delivery, expectations, and affordability. Ask people how taxes are generated. And most people in the world will say, well, companies pay taxes and individuals pay taxes. What if the debate around taxation, even in North Saanich, had to be that companies never pay a tax? Companies are tax collectors from their customer bases. Doesn't mean that the municipality shouldn't ask them to collect taxes, but it does mean that in the electoral process, politicians would be less prone to say, don't worry, we'll keep your residential taxes low and we'll go after business. And I was in a council meeting in town of Sidney years ago when the question was hiring 2 additional professional firefighters. I mean, nobody was arguing the need. And one of the councillors said straight out, well, we'll just put that on the business tax, as if people weren't be paying that tax. So at the municipal level, it is becoming increasingly important in these very challenging times to be totally transparent with the taxpayer, who, of course, most of us want to pay the taxes. We just want to be sure we're getting value for our money. But when you obscure the collection of taxes, doubts begin to seep into the process. And that's unfortunate for the councillors, the staff, and the taxpayer.